what I've been thinking about today is this idea of God is good. And what I mean by that is that God is in the good. I want to approach it from this way. Have you ever had the feeling that life, like, is this all there is? Like, have you ever had the feeling like, is this all we gonna do here? Like, is that all that life is about? You get to that point in life where you feel like you may be trying and pushing and running and doing a lot of stuff, but it doesn't feel like you're moving forward. Or you've had the feeling where you want to do something crazy, like you want to shake it up, like you want to feel excited. And I've heard people say feel alive, and I've even said that myself, that I want to just feel alive. And you sometimes can think about or be tempted to do something drastic, right? Like, or the tendency we have sometimes too is when we get those feelings. First of all, let me back up. Can you relate to those feelings? Because I know over points in my life, I've had those feelings, and sometimes all of them at once. And I'm wondering, what happens when you guys have those feelings? Or do you have those feelings? Have you had those feelings recently? If anybody wants to jump in and just share that. So let me put that just right on the table. So remember that, okay? Now, when we have those feelings, I want to say when I have those feelings, and as I've talked to friends, and we're just talking about our life, or just sharing about a day, or just an experience that we may have. When that happens, the tendency that I think builds up in us as humans is we will go reach for like a drink. We go reach for a drug. We go reach for somebody, something, food, a dessert, something or somebody that will help distance or disconnect us from that feeling. So we're distracted. So we don't feel that feeling, because that feeling is not great. You don't feel like it's great, right? But what I want to say today, and what I started off by saying was that God is good, is that I believe that desire to want more, I think it's God-given. I think because He intends for us to have more. He has more for us. So more is available to us, and He intends more for us. So the desire itself is not wrong. I want to give you a context for it, though. I believe that when you have those feelings, really what they are in some instances, and I think I'm going to just jump out and say maybe in a number of instances, what that is the cry for connection. It's a call to change it up, to do something different in the normal routine, to try or introduce something new into your life, to approach life differently. I'm going to let that marinate for a minute. What do y'all think about that? Does that resonate or make sense for anybody? I want to give you an example. What I find, I can be very serious. I know y'all would never believe that. But I can be very serious. And what I have found is that as I embrace the silly, I don't mean senseless side of myself, but the silly side of myself. The side of me that knows how to take it easy. The side of me that knows how to, learns how to relax and not put so much pressure on myself. When I embrace that side of me, I'm more productive. Can anybody relate to that? And so let me go back to the God is good part. At the core of any kind of mental shift that we have, any kind of shift or change in heart, is the Spirit of God at work. And so one of the ways I believe God works is through us enjoying what He created. So God doesn't just live in church or on Sunday mornings or in hymns or in religious songs or religious programming. He is alive, like in everything that is good and fortifies us. And when we engage, when we find joy and lightness in the everyday, when we change things up, when we try new things, what it allows us to do is broaden our perspective and see him and experience him, and I think more meaningful, more genuine, and more memorable ways. This is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to ask you, when is the last time you laughed out loud? Like, laughed out loud. There are times in my life where I couldn't remember. Like, I could not give you a time. And again, as I'm finding, is the more I connect with the things that God has put on this earth that are fun, that are enjoyable. And sometimes you don't know until you try it, until you're willing and open enough to just step and say, you know what? I always take this route to work. Let me try something different. Let me go, maybe make this turn instead of that turn. You know what? I always get the pink on my nails. Maybe I'm going to try red today. I was in the salon the other day, like with my mask on, and there was a woman there, and she was like, no, I'm going to go with the pink that I always do. She would not change colors. I'm not judging her. I'm just saying, what if you tried a different color? Sometimes that's all it takes. And so I think it's not always these big, grand gestures. Sometimes it's the simple and the subtle that make the most significant impact in our lives. So I'm going to give you just a few ideas that could apply to home, to work, relationships, that may allow you to inject a little bit of fun, a little bit of, newness into your life that help you constructively respond to that sense, that craving for wanting more, and wanting probably something more meaningful or deeper. I'm going to just throw some ideas out, because the other thing I realized in life is that I'm a person who likes to kind of handle it, right? Are y'all like that? Like, if there's something to be done, you want to just handle it. You want to get it done. And let's sit down and have a formal conversation, and let's talk it back and talk it through and pull back the layers. And sometimes a formal conversation is not the fix. Sometimes when you're trying to connect with your son or your daughter, your teenager or your 20-something-year-old, or you want them to hear you, or you want to get closer to them, or you're trying to relate to that colleague or that coworker, or you really want you and your spouse to be able to talk because all y'all do is seem to argue or fight. Sometimes what you got to do is forget the formal conversation and figure out a way to have fun. Because again, at the core of every shift and change in heart is God, His Spirit at work. And one of the things He uses, one of the vessels He uses is fun. I think that is a big misconception and myth that God doesn't want us to have fun. He just doesn't want us to fall away from Him. So let me give you a few ideas, okay? And like, as I'm saying them, if you're like, yeah, that's cool, I think I could do that, or not so much, let me know that, because that's part of the fun too, okay? So here's a couple of ideas. Board game. When's the last time you played a board game? Monopoly, Sorry, Twister, Jenga. That's not a board game, but it's a game. Card games, Uno. That's really the only card game I kind of know. There's Go Fish, but that's maybe not so great anymore. But it's particularly like we're all at home. Board game. Pull out a game. You ain't got to play it every week, but maybe once a month. Maybe everybody gets a pick, a rotation. Just try it out. Say, okay, we're going to do this for 30 minutes and just see what happens. See how your family engages. See how you're lighter. See how you're more open, more relaxed after the fact or as you're doing it. What about pulling out old videos, old photo albums, and just looking through? Remind yourself where you've come from. Remind yourself of funny moments, of times that you've had a good time, of times that it maybe, you went on vacation or you just took a drive. Remind yourself of where you've come through, the things you've gone through. The other day, my husband and I, my daughter, she pulled out like our old wedding video. And I don't know, it just, as we watched the video, my mind just went through all the stuff that we've gone through in these last several years that we've been together with her and together. And the stuff that I may have been frustrated about kind of just fell away in that moment. and I felt more connected. I felt more together as a family. So videos, photographs that you can look at together. And maybe you do it on your alone. So these are things that you can do on your own, together as a family, as a couple, things that you may, or aspects of them you can inject at work. Again, just to introduce something new, to engage your excitement. Another thing, Play-Doh. When's the last time you constructed something, like created something, just played? When was the last time you did that? And it doesn't have to be with Play-Doh. Maybe Legos is your thing. And I know these sound silly and maybe not, I don't know, adult and serious, but that's the point. What comes out of you when you do when you do something different than what you always do? And how might you connect on a deeper and more meaningful level with those you love and even with yourself? And by doing that, you are connecting with the Creator. What about an indoor picnic? I love carpet picnics. My family is like, no, we don't want to do that. But I really like it. I don't know what your family would think about it. You know, if you're going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, what about if you just have it in the living room? Maybe not at the table this time. Maybe lay down a blanket and literally just have an indoor picnic. What about pancakes for breakfast? I love pancakes. They're like one of my favorite things ever. And it just changes it up to have a breakfast item at a different time of day. What about using magazines? Going through as a family, everybody get a different magazine, whatever one they want. And just go through and pick out pictures that represent either what you think your family is. So pictures that remind you of your family or represent things you want to experience in your family. And put all your pictures together and create a collage. And put it on the board in a place that everybody can see. Again, just an activity to change things up, to help see each other differently, to help showcase parts of yourself, access different parts of yourself. What about, this is really a simple one. I love tea and like different flavors of tea, like make me excited, like to try and experiment. If that's your thing, get you some different kind of tea, some loose tea or the kind in the bag, and just sit somewhere that you're comfortable, that's quiet, if that's your thing, and then just enjoy the flavor. Again, we are mind, body, and spirit. And so when those feelings come up, in my belief and in my experience, there's part or pieces, either one of those areas or all of those areas that are crying out for a connection, crying out for a change. And tea, the physical eating, whether it be tea or the pancakes or whatever dish you want, that is a physical. It is a sensual experience, like taste. And that changes for that moment an experience. It creates an experience for that moment. I'm not looking to get too abstract. But when you think about it, when you have something good, when you taste something that is good, do you not smile? Are you not happier in that moment than you were previous to when you got an opportunity to experience that? Are you not more relaxed and less guarded? Okay, I've been into this thing lately. I'm not a drinker, never been really into alcohol, and I'm not making some religious or spiritual commentary on alcohol. I think alcohol in excess is not great. That's biblical. But I'm going to just focus on what I've been playing with. I've been making mocktails. And you can do this as a family, as a couple. It could maybe be something even you do at work, because it does non-alcoholic. Maybe you'll have a party or some way to kind of get together as a group or as a team to build, just see each other in a different way. But basically, there are all kind of recipes on the internet for mocktails. One of the things I like is a mojito. Okay, so mojito minus the alcohol is a mocktail, right? There are all other kinds, right? If you like mango, or if you like strawberry, or if you like cranberry, you can play and experiment. The recipes are typically very simple. The ingredients are generally very accessible and not very expensive. So it's something you could do maybe on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. If you get crazy and you want to try a couple, in a week, that's on you. You can decide and craft it how you want, but it's something that's different, something that's fresh, something that allows you to be different than maybe you already or normally are. And for your family and people that you interact with to see that different side of you. It's an idea. Let me throw a couple of other ones at you. What about coloring books or painting? I remember when I was trying to figure out what God had made me to do. One of the things I did was I just started painting because I love art. I love art in any form. I love beauty in any form. So whether it's on a canvas or it's in a car or it's on a carpet or it's in a piece of furniture, that excites me. So why not get either an empty canvas or a big piece of paper or a small piece of paper and finger paint or brush paint? Just play with the color. You don't need to be there for all day. 5-10 minutes. Just to kind of start there's this kind of energy that starts up when you create. That what it really does and what all these things really do is that they are representations of, hi Helen, good morning. They are representations of possibility. And when we have those feelings that I talked about in the beginning, like, is this all there is in life? Or like, I've been running, I don't seem to be making progress, or I want to do something exciting. What we're really crying out for is to be reminded that we still have possibility, that there is still something in life that we can do, that we can want, that we can reach for. That is the energy of possibility. And that's really God. That is God. It's the reminder of possibility. And when we do things that change up our normal routines, that help us approach life differently, we inject possibilities. And they are infinite. And that feels good. Hope is what you feel. And that feels good. Okay? I want to leave it there for just a minute. And just kind of, if anybody is willing and want to just throw anything out about what I kind of threw out, or something that maybe you're doing alone or with your family or at work, whether you're working from home or you're going to a physical building. Can you share an experience that may have happened that when you did try something new? And it could be as simple as you got a new haircut, or you maybe shaved your face differently. You're growing a beard, or you're cutting one off, or you're going shorter or longer, or you changed up the color, or you're changing the hairstyle. I mean, it could be that simple. You change the color of the paint on a wall. It could be that. I'm just giving you some other ideas that maybe you hadn't considered, or maybe you'd want to try, or ways that you can engage your family or parts of your life differently. So anybody want to talk to me about what they feel? Yes. Elisa, that's fantastic. She's basically saying that sometimes we take on too much and we get stressed out. And trying something new helps bring you back. That is exactly right. I want to give you a recent example. My daughter thinks she's a comedian. Okay, so I gotta admit, she's funny. Okay, she can be witty and smart and all that stuff when she makes comments. So I'm working, I'm writing, and I'm literally trying to come up with ideas and flesh them out. And sometimes that is a grind. And so I was on the computer, and she sends me this email. So I open this email and I read it, and I gotta say, she's mocking me for, being so wanting it perfect and having this standard. And she's like, okay, I gotta let you know that we're not Burger King. She's offering to give me her services, but she's making fun of me in terms of my personality. And I gotta say, I laughed long and out loud, because it was funny, and I was laughing at myself. And sometimes we get in the mode of trying to do all these things, trying to do so much. And if we just kind of let the air out a little bit, if we just kind of even a speaker, you got to tweak down, right? So you don't get that high frequency. Even your tires, you can't have at max. There is a ideal point for them to function well. We're the same way. And sometimes we just need to let the air out a little bit. Sometimes we just need to relax. We just need to you doing too much. My family says that to me all the time. You doing too much. And we say that jokingly to each other to say, you can do one thing at a time. And you don't have to, the energy and the effort to take it so seriously all the time is a lot. And when we can laugh at ourselves, when we can see the funny in the everyday life, man, it makes life more enjoyable. It makes what we're doing more enjoyable, and we are more productive. Because if you're honest, like your best ideas, the coolest ideas, they generally don't come when you're like, okay, I'm going to come up with an idea. Okay, I'm going to sit here and figure it out. Generally, you're in the shower. You're at the grocery store. You're in the car driving. You're talking to somebody else. You may be watching a movie. That's not by accident. That is by design. All of us, all parts of us need to be engaged in life, I believe, for it to be a rich and a full experience. And I believe that belief is not wrong because we see that in our everyday life. I watch people, I interact with people, and I get that kind of feedback that that's the case, like that's the truth. So I love your comment. Absolutely, Elisa. We're doing too much. And it doesn't mean that it's not important to do what we need to do. It just means our approach and how we're thinking about it can be helped and energized even, made more productive even, if we allow there to be a little lightness in it. If we find the lightness in it, if we give our space and permission to engage the lightness as well. So I want to leave you with just a few points. Today, this week, what can you do to change it up? What can you do to approach life differently? What can you do to find the God in the good all around us? Because if it brings you a smile, and it's not contrary to the Bible, go for it. So use one or more than one of the things that we may have suggested here, or create your own. But make a commitment to yourself that you will keep it fresh. And that sense that rises up in you, that sort of discontent feeling, that's a reminder. That's a trigger that it's time to change it up. That's a trigger that, okay, I need to connect. I need something. I need to create. I need to find a way to have some fun. And I need to find a way to connect with that creator in me, the God in you that works through joy. And it's all around us if we open our eyes and if we're willing to be open and try. So I know you guys, I know that there's a lot happening in this world and in life. And I wanted to just lighten it up and just take a little bit of a lighter approach today and remind you that maybe hopefully you'll reflect on this, maybe this video, or share it with somebody so that it can be helpful in their life as well. And collectively, we can begin to remind each other just to look at the lighter side. And yes, ma'am, Miss Helen, nature is a beautiful way to do that. It reminds us that, I don't know, it just reminds us that there's still possibility and we are still alive and God is still here. That's really what it reminds me of. And whatever it reminds you of, you kind of have to just take a pause when you look at a tree, when you look at the stars or the sun, when you watch a bird get up and fly from here to there. You got to kind of just take a pause. And if you're not, I'm encouraging you to. Sending everything that is good and wonderful your way, and encouraging you to engage and employ some of these things to more constructively deal with that feeling that's going to come. That I believe is just a part of who we are, and it's how we deal with it. And these kinds of ideas create a more constructive approach, and it helps us embrace the God all around us and in us, and use that to avoid the dryness and the disconnect and the distraction that can come when we don't do that. Okay? Sending blessings your way. Again, reminding you that if something has spoken to you today, share it. Share it in a comment. Share the Daily Dose with somebody. I look forward to seeing you next, or actually this Thursday, 11 o'clock Central Time, right here, Facebook Live, Deneen K. James. Share this with somebody so that it can bless their day. Leave a comment. Just let me know how you're receiving it, so that, because that helps me know if this is connecting, if it's valuable, if we're creating community, because that's the goal. I pray that God connects and works in your life to use what is said to be a blessing to you. And the other thing I would encourage you to do is, if you want more, I encourage you to just stop by my website at deneenjames.com and sign up to be a part of the community, because there are things that I share with that community that I don't share necessarily broad-based. And you signing up lets me know that you do want to be a part of that community, you want more, and I want to share things that I'm trying and doing that I don't necessarily share broadly with you. Okay? Blessings to you. Thank you for joining me. It has been my privilege and my pleasure. I hope to see you again this Thursday at 11 o'clock, right back here at Facebook Live. Deneen K. James. Have a fantastic day. Abundant blessings to you in more ways that I can say. Bye. See you next time.